and get nostalgic. Just like, no way. They finally fucking did it. You can play in a 3D world and do whatever you want. And there were some games that were before that. Driver was a big one in San Francisco. You drive around, but you couldn't get out of the car. Everything was in the car. Gran Turismo, everything was in the car. But this was like you could get out of the car and do whatever you wanted. And when this game came out, I was like, I've got to get that game. And my friend who lived down the street, one of just the nicest kids you'd ever meet, he was a year older than I was, and he had gotten a job.
Nicer than Zoot at a bookstore.
Pardon me?
Nicer than Zoot at a bookstore.
Most certainly. He's just a really nice, and I really appreciated his friendship, and just always supported me. He was a year older than I was, but it didn't seem that way. We were like really close friends, and he got a job. He was like the first person I knew maybe who had gotten like a real job at like a real company. He had gotten a job at Target, and Target, they opened up a Target super center, and he applied. He got this job, and he did not enjoy it very much, but he he got like an employee discount, and he said to me, look, if my parents won't let me get a PlayStation 2, and neither will your parents, but I'll tell you what we could do is if we put our money together. Like, you have to understand the PlayStation 2 is very expensive, and like we didn't have a lot of money that was available to us. And so he said, if you um if we'll go in halvesies on it, and if we do that, you can keep it because my parents will find it, but there's a better chance maybe that, like, we had a little bit bigger of a house and there were more places where I could hide it. And he's like,
it's the console they wouldn't allow, either the console or the game.
No, the console. We weren't allowed a PlayStation. We weren't allowed a PlayStation 2. They were very expensive, and they were just seen as, I think, by both our parents as a waste of time, and that was like a no. So I said to him, okay, like, if we pool our money, we can buy a PlayStation 2, and then we've got to get our hands on Grand Theft Auto. And the thing is, neither of us were 18 years old. I think he was 16 or something. I think he started working there when he was like 15 and a half or something. He had some kind of something like that. And he had to have like parental permission or something. But anyway, he started working there. Maybe
no one had a connection to a like 18-year-old brother or someone in the neighborhood or some cool guy outside the video game store.
We were all our families were like really conservative, and so like nobody wanted to get in trouble. And so but he worked at the store. He was going to be able to buy it, and since he could like have one of the friends or one of the other people there check him out, they weren't gonna say anything about it.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so he got it, and then
you got copies for like all your other friends too?
No, we just had one copy, and we played the absolute shit out of this game. And then very soon thereafter, I say very soon thereafter, but like, okay, so this is what we did. He would come over and we'd play it at my house, and then on the weekends, like on Saturday nights or like on a Sunday, we could play it at his house, and we would kind of just like, and then whenever he wanted it, like he could have it. But since I got to store it, like I got to play it way more. And then
were you sneakily playing when your parents were out or something?
100%, yeah. So what I had done, since he was my friend, I had asked him to buy me a TV that I remember at the time was like $100, and I bought a TV, and then I also asked him to buy me baby monitors, and he bought me baby monitors. You know, like, why baby monitors? So
Oh my god.
my parents had a big house, and one thing that we could do um, is I could put the baby monitors in a plant that was in like this library that we had, and I could hear my dad when he would walk up the stairs because of these baby monitors, which was very advanced for the time. This was like the like early 2000s. So I could hear him walking up this.
Video or audio?
Just audio. There's no video. Absolutely no video. They didn't even make
Okay.
video baby monitors then, but they did make audio
Okay.
ones that were like radio signals. And so I could hear him whenever he would
Walkie-talkies.
basically, yeah. But I could hear him whenever he came upstairs. And what I then did, I had this very elaborate like Home Alone like setup where I would keep the television in my closet, and I had a big walk-in closet. And if my like my parents were coming, I could pull a string and it would move up this folder, and just you couldn't tell that there was a television there. And it was like
What do you mean a folder? Like what kind of folder?
like imagine like a binder that the television sat on, that when you pulled the string, the flap of the binder moved upward so that it would block the television. Does that
Okay.
does that make sense? I mean, it may not, but then it was hard for me to play like that because I would have to play in the closet. So then I moved the television to I had a desk that had like that had
Did they question when you had the TV in your room? Like
they didn't
or is
no
that
no
allowed?
no they I was not allowed a television in my room. So that was a total, that's what I'm saying, like everything was on the
They
DL.
had like 2 or 3 like contraband, the baby monitor, the TV, and the PlayStation, and the game. Like 4 contraband.
That's exactly right. So then I had my desk that because it was hard for me to see the television from the closet, and I wanted to be able to, like, I didn't always want to be like coming out of the closet when my parents walked in the room, because they'd be like, why are you always in the closet? I
Masturbating.
No, nothing like that. I took the television and put it in the I had like a desk, and there were like 2 like open areas where you could put the television, and then I put books in front of it, and I could just basically slide the books out and be able to see. And then if anybody were coming, I could slide the books back. And so it was.
Weren't the TVs then like giant, chunky, like foot and like wide TVs?
Yeah, so this was like a 13-inch television. It was just like, but like maybe the size of a like maybe 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet, or no, smaller than that. Maybe, yeah, maybe 1.5, maybe 1 foot by, maybe 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet. But it slid perfectly in this area of my desk, and so we could play, and it was like I played Grand Theft Auto 1, and it was the most like amazing game to play. It's just like you were living in a mafia game. It was so cool. But then very soon thereafter, Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out, and I had my friend get this game for me. And when that came out, that's the game that changed my life. And I say that it really did. Why do I say
Is
that?
that Grand Theft Auto 4?
No. Grand Theft Auto 4 was Liberty City. Grand Theft Auto 5 was San Andreas again. Or not San Andreas. Was Los Santos. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was supposed to be like an add-on to Grand Theft Auto 3, but they made it its own game. This is the one that takes place in Miami.
Oh.
And I'll never forget the first time I played this game. If you play it, the first level, within the first like 60 seconds, you hear Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. And I was like, no way. They got Michael Jackson on this fucking video game? I mean, you have to understand how big it is to get Michael Jackson in anything, let alone like in a video game. And the soundtrack to that game to this day is the best soundtrack of any game that's ever existed. It is amazing. back then between like 2000 and 2010, you could have really good soundtracks to video games. What happened after that is people started porting in their own like Spotify and all that other shit. So you didn't really need to have like really good soundtracks to video games. But back then, soundtracks to video games were amazing. And this game had all of the best songs, like of any game. It had just the best 80s songs. And I was obsessed with this game.
Nice.
I was obsessed with this game so much, and my friends knew at school I was obsessed with this game so much that I wanted to play it at school because I wanted my friends to watch me be able to play it. And this the where I went to school was like this. It was like a mansion, and it was it had like different houses on the property. And when we got to be older, you we would have class in one of these other houses, and um we had this thing called reading days where because we had to read a lot. Sometimes we would need to catch up on our schoolwork, and so the teachers would let us just read for like 2 hours. And I told my friend, the kid who lived down the street from me, who was buying me this stuff, um, I think he's the one who told me, "Hey, did you know that they make a television for the PlayStation 2?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "It's a little contraption that goes on the PlayStation that flips up and it's a TV. It's like now you have to understand they didn't have flat screen TVs back then. It was like having a tablet on top of the TV, but the tablet was really thick and you could flip it up and it would be like a real television. And I was like, how much is it? He's like, it's more than the PlayStation. It was like $330 or something. I remember it was super expensive. And I was like, I'm gonna do everything that
Isn't that like $1,000 back then?
It's like pretty close to like maybe $500 to $800, something like that, depending on how you look at inflation. And I was like, I've got to get my hands on this thing. I just thought it would be so cool to have like it was almost like a laptop, but um I've never even seen one. The one that I had is truthfully the only one I've ever seen in real life. And I I bought it, and that meant I could play this fucking game, and it would not. I wouldn't need a television. It would just if you ever saw what the PlayStation 2 looked like, imagine like a laptop top that would flip out of it, and you could play. Now the graphics were pretty good, not like as good as a television, but it had speakers in it and everything. So I bought this thing, and I would play it totally. My parents to this day, I don't think ever found out about it. I'm trying to think. Maybe. No, I don't think they ever found out about that per se. They found out that I had a PlayStation 2, but that was like when I got older, and it was like okay, it was like before college maybe. Anyway, so we I had this like little TV this thing that would flip up from the um the PlayStation 2. So I was telling you that we had these things called reading days, and we had this class called Humane Letters, which is like I'm classically educated. It's not a normal type of what you would get in like a public school. We would read like Dostoevsky and Plato um and so these are thick books and it takes you a long time to read through them. So the teachers would give us time to read this during school. Sometimes, usually it was supposed to be for homework though. Anyway, um we would sometimes get out of our class to be able to read. And when we read, we were supposed to read in different parts of this house. And some people would read in like a guest room. Other people would sit in the living room. It was uh, not a normal way that people in the United States go to school, but this is just what it's like. It wasn't a boarding school, but it's pretty close. And so we would um, we would get some time to ourselves, and I would bring in my um, PlayStation 2 with this flip up thing and all of the quote unquote like the I say the bad kids. These kids went to Ivy League schools. They weren't that bad at all. But we would go and we would play these games, and well, I shouldn't say that. I would play the game and I'd make them watch me because it's like, look, I'm not gonna risk my ass getting caught with a fucking PlayStation 2, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and a TV. This is like 500 or $800. I mean, let's see here. It was $330 for the thing, maybe another $300 for a PlayStation at 630 plus the games another 50, then the controllers. It's like $700-800 worth of shit, and I'm not taking a risk. So I would sit by the outlet, and my friends would watch me for 2 hours. And I of anything, Riser, when I go viral, I'm gonna love to play video games publicly because I love people commenting when I play video games. It's just something I've always liked. And they would watch, and then the teacher would come in the room, and he would come in and he'd be like, "What are you guys doing?" And all the kids would be like, "Oh, nothing." They, and frankly, I'm surprised none of them blew the whistle on me, but they were all really cool about it. And we would fucking play this game, or I would play this game, and they would watch me, and it was just like it was the most amazing thing. Anyway, that's like the contraband of video games that I had. Then when I got a little bit older, I was, I think, 18. Once I was 18, my parents knew that like they can't really stop me from getting anything, basically. And I uh, would play Madden or like college football, and I there weren't a lot of guys in my class. There were like 13 of us or something, and so I could make each one of them a player on the football team, and like it was kind of funny because I could like rename all the players to people who we knew, and that was kind of a fun thing to do. Anyway, that's my story of contraband electronics and movies and things, and um, yeah, I'm trying to think of any. I had this birthday party when I was I don't know, 10, 11, maybe 12. I don't know. No, not that old. And we wanted, the big thing was to get an R-rated movie because none of us were allowed to see R-rated movies. And there was a movie came out called The Hunt for Red October. It's got Gene Hackman in it, Denzel Washington, and my mom and dad had asked like all their friends like, is this a is there any nudity in it? No. Do they curse in it? Maybe a little, but nothing major. But it's an R-rated movie, I think, because it's about war and stuff. And so at this birthday party that I had, we it was a sleepover, and we watched this movie, and it was the biggest sleepover that anyone ever had when I was a kid. No one ever had a bigger sleepover. We had 30 kids at our house, and we had a big house that where it was like um that was big enough to have a party for 30 kids, but it's just too many kids. And my parents were like, we're never having a party that big again for just one as a sleepover. You can have over, I'd have over like maybe 4 kids.
Was it your birthday or something?
Yeah, yeah, it was my birthday. And so it was the biggest sleepover I've ever heard of. We had every kid from um from the boys' school uh that was I think that was in town. I mean, it was like a huge, huge party, and we were really, really loud. We had this really big like room that didn't have anything in it. Um, our house was finished and furnished, but we had one room that was not furnished. My parents always kind of envisioned it to be like just like a playroom kind of a deal, and it was really big, so we could play football in it, and we would play football in this room till all hours of the night. And this one time when we had these 30 kids over, we had 30 kids playing football in this one room. It was like it was a kid's
How fucking big was the room?
very big room. It was a very big room and it had very high ceilings, so it was like the ultimate like room where you could like, if you want to know like by feet, it was maybe wide. It was like maybe, I could be wrong on this, but maybe 20 or 30 feet wide, and nah, maybe not that much, maybe 20 feet wide, but long. It was like 40 feet long. So it was kind of like, it was amazing as a little kid to have that.
Is that does not seem large enough to play football with
Yeah,
30 people.
maybe I'm underestimating it. Maybe it was 50 feet long and 25 feet wide, something like that. It had really high ceilings though as well. So, you could throw a ball and not have to worry about it anything happening. I mean, you might hit the ceiling or something, but it was just a plain white room with windows, and it was. I mean, I'm trying to think. It was big enough for us to play. I mean, 15 kids on each side, and we just had the best time playing. I'm surprised they never broke a window, thankfully. And anyway, this one night I had this sleepover. All my friends were there, and even kids that I like who never we never even hang out with usually. Like we invited every boy, and um we the big thing was we wanted to stay up all night. Any sleepover I ever had, I always wanted to stay up all night, and I never got beat. I always out was awake longer than anybody else, and we were playing football, and then we were told that we had to go to bed, and of course we're not going to go to bed. We're like giggling and just watch an R-rated movie, and we weren't normally allowed to watch R-rated movies, and um this movie, it was very boring um for like 11-year-old kids or whatever, but um we kept making noise, laughing and giggling and all this other stuff. And my dad came down and he's like, all right, I warned you. They warned us like a bunch of times. He's like, I warned you. So he took every kid and put them in a different corner of our, like, that part of our house, and we were all in a different corner. I'll never forget that. And I was embarrassed because like, now we have to be good or whatever. But yeah, it was just like this wild time as a little kid watching R-rated movies. I'm trying to think of any. Okay, I have one more story. So I was at my friend's grandparents' house. My friend's grandparents were like in they were from like uh pretty close to the Israeli settlement area. That's where they were from, and my friend would go back there like pretty regularly, and I was at his grandparents' house. His grandparents lived kind of close to where my parents lived, and sometimes after school I'd go over to their house. And this one day I was with my friend at his grandparents' house, and his sister was going to be like, she had just gotten her a car, I think, or something like that. Maybe maybe not. Maybe she just had somebody whose mom was going to pick them up or something. But they were going to go see a movie, and it was an R-rated movie, and that was something like we weren't allowed to go see as little kids. But because his sister was older, she was going to um, maybe allow us to go see it. And maybe she was going to be cool. Maybe she was going to say, "Hey, we're going to the movies. We're going to go see whatever. I don't know what kid, The Lion King or something like that." But in reality, we were going to go see an R-rated movie. And somehow, some way, we told whoever was going to be watching, it's like my friend's grandparents or whatever, that we were going to go see a movie with his sister. And we went and saw the movie Fear, which starred Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon. And I don't think there's nudity in that movie, but it's an R-rated movie because it's like a violent movie. And I remember that was like the first rated R movie that I ever saw that was not The Hunt for Red October. That was a big one. How about you? What's the first R-rated movie you saw? Riser. Right, did I put you to sleep? Are you watching my Titanic videos? Riser! There he is. What the fuck, man?
Fucking. Can you not hear me?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just saying what the like R-rated movies that I had seen were. What R-rated movies? What was your first R-rated movie?
Kind of remember. Honestly, I have no idea.
Oh,
Um, I need to see, like, retrace my steps and shit.
okay. I've got another quick story for you. This is a quick, but sort of. Okay, so remember I was saying like it was pretty rare for me to go see movies with both my parents. It was very rare. Um, but with my mom, sometimes my mom would take my cousins and me to the movies like in the summer, and only when it was like a really big movie, like um, like Batman or something like that, like a really big movie. That was, but there's a movie that came out that was a giant movie, and I remember it. I think it came out July 4th, actually, I think it was July 2nd, 1996. And the reason why I remember that is because it's called Independence Day. And Independence Day in the United States is July 4th. You know of Independence Day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember I was saying like I did my best to avoid any awkward situations with my mom. Um so
Is The Shining rated R?
oh man, that's an old movie. I think so. I think it would be.
Okay.
Um
Probably first R movie.
okay. Um so we went with my cousins to go see Independence Day, and my like aunt was there and my mom, and we go, and the theater's packed, like not like today. Theaters don't get packed like they were then. Like they would just pack as many people in as possible. And we were so excited to see this movie. This movie was going to be like the biggest blockbuster of the summer. It was giant. And there's a scene where I believe her Vivica A. Fox is a stripper at the very beginning of the movie, and that was a very awkward scene. Like I still remember the awkwardness of being with in the same room as my mom, but there's no nudity. She's just like dancing on a pole, and I remember just like covering my own eyes basically. Um, but there's no nudity. I mean, like the worst I think that you would see is like maybe her in a bikini or something like that. But even still, even that was like um very very awkward, very very awkward. And my cousins were the same way. We never talked about sex. Everything was like very asexual. Like uh we it's just not something that was joked about. I mean, like sex between people is like a very serious thing, especially generally in most communities where we like where we grew up. um you just never, yeah, you just didn't like you did your best to just avoid those kind of conversations. All right, so you saw The Shining. When was the first R-rated movie that you saw that was like a modern movie?
Um, oh, modern R-rated movie. How
Like,
do you define modern?
okay, like when you went to go see it, it was in the theater.
Oh, I don't think I've seen an R-rated movie in the theater ever. To be honest, I I haven't watched that many movies in my life. I mean, I watched like enough, but I'm not like cinema head or whatever.
Cinemaphile. Okay. I mean
Yeah,
that's understandable.
but I did get a fucking VR headset yesterday, and I fucking like tried watching. I just watched like YouTube on it for a while, and it was like insane. It was like having a fucking movie theater screen in my room. It was like so epic and big.
I told you, man. But and two things with it. One, it will suck up your time if you get in there. Like time goes away, or at least it does when I'm in it. And then secondly, you'll get sick of it. Like meaning, it's cool now, but it won't be cool in like 6 months.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stories like that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to get Google anti-gravity to code a game for it right now.
Isn't that a thing?
What?
Isn't that a thing? AI game development.
Yeah, I mean, I've already used it to make like my Lemming like family friendly shotgun roulette game, and it worked. It was like a little bit of effort, but it did really work. So I haven't tried the anti-gravity one yet, but we'll see. I mean, I still have to create all the assets and import them into Unity, and then get the code to work along with the fucking VR controls. But we'll see. Do you know what what's it called? Let me see.
I'm here.
Find the word.
I'm here and I'm listening. I'm just resetting my devices. Go ahead.
Let me just find the word real quick. Oh yeah, frustum. Do you know what a frustum is?
What's a frustum, big dog?
A frustum is like basically if you drop a cone or a pyramid and you put a line parallel to the base, that piece that you, or that face that you create is known as the frustum. And why I'm bringing that up is because this VR game that I want the AI to code has a lot to do. I mean, like, yeah, the VR game that I want to code has a lot to do with basically like the meat and potatoes, the nuts and bolts of this game is basically just coding a realistic spray paint effect onto various surfaces, and different nozzles that you use and different pressure paints have different effects. But the gist of it is basically doing all this like conical or whatever the fuck. Cone geometry.
Right.
Canile, I think.
It's not
canile geometry.
It's not conical?
I don't know if it's conical or canile, but cone geometry onto various surfaces.
What the fuck is you doing? Apologies, I interrupted you. I just don't know what he's doing. Yes, I imagine, yeah, that would, the different sprays and the width and everything, that would be pretty complicated, right?
We'll see. I mean, like the Quest 3 controller, like I did not think it would be as incredibly good as it is, but it's very good for like the input that I can receive. I don't think it has like a gyro on it, but it uses AI and the camera sensors and then like the sensor to create like its position in the air with its like yaw, pitch, and roll, and like whatever other axes the controller has. So the controller has these like really solid like pieces of data that can be like transmuted into whatever code that you want, but you have to tell the code exactly like what to do with that data. So like the controller's position relative to the wall and the angle that they're spraying at are going to affect how the spray looks. But you basically just do a lot of calculations based on the controller input, and then you, from the sound, I mean, we'll see how good the AI thing can code. The reason why I'm doing this is because the whole reason I bought this VR headset is to use this graffiti game to paint in virtual reality, and they have this like pretty like solid game by the sounds of it, where like the spray is pretty realistic. So I want to emulate that because the maps that they give you in this simulation spray paint VR game are not very great. So I want to make my own maps, which requires me creating the entire application from scratch. But I think I showed you like that train last time that I was working on. Like I can make like a whole train yard map like fairly easily in Blender, and then whatever other maps I want to paint graffiti on. And then also could sell this game if it actually works and is successful. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of. I hope it's mostly like a test right now to see how good the AI is at coding, I guess, geometry intersections in VR.
Have you played it's called what is it called? Power Sprayer, I think is the name of the game.
Is that the Power Wash Simulator?
That's what it is, Power Wash Simulator. Have you played that?
I've seen video of it online. I'm not really. I don't know how to phrase it, but that one seems pretty mundane to me. Like, I don't know. Maybe if you have like OCD, it's a good game, but
yeah, I see it advertised a lot, and it's amazing to me how saturated the game market is, and if you don't advertise your game, no one will ever find it.
I mean, yeah, you have to put some awareness out there, but
right, like
people will if it's really fun.
Right, when I was a kid, the way you got a game was you went to Best Buy and they had a certain selection, and that's what you had. That's what every kid had. Whatever, they might have 30 different games, or you'd go to
they're all made by AAA studios like Nintendo.
Exactly.
With, like, giant budgets.
Exactly. And that's just what you had. And no one had ever met anybody who didn't play those games, meaning nobody was like, oh, there's this other game. There were no other games. What are you talking about? That's not available at Best Buy or at Electronics Boutique, or which became GameStop, or any of the other places like Sam Goody. Like nobody had ever heard of anything but the games that were there. And just one moment. We have a friend here. Welcome. Oh, it's Trazeway. Trazeway, this is my friend Riser Trazeway. Oh, you met. Okay, excellent. Yeah, but nobody had ever played any other games. And then, if you went to the store, what up, baby? And then if you went to the store, it was the same thing. Like there were just no other ways to get a game. And then Amazon came out, which changed things. and then like it, then you could get your hands on like some rarer games that were like around the world or maybe just not necessarily in your area. And then eventually we run into like Steam, and then Steam changed the game where you could download things. And but like I don't know, like for someone to be like, oh, we like somebody would be like, hey, I played this game, and it would be like, oh yeah, I saw that game, it was available. But like you said, they were all studios, and these games really need to market themselves that much. Oh, Riser, remember I was telling you about Duke Nukem 3D?
Yeah.
Okay, the reason why I mentioned that game, that was, and then I had went on a tangent on Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, but Duke Nukem 3D had. I was so excited to get this game. I saw it in a magazine, and I don't know to this day how I got the game. I think I did, like, I was pretty good with computers, and if sometimes my dad would be like, "If you could figure this thing out on a computer, I'll get you a game." Like he'd put a challenge out there for me, and then I would have to work and figure out how to do something on a computer. And if I did it correctly, I'd get a game. That's generally how it worked. And I think I probably did something on the computer, and he bought me a game. And the game was Duke Nukem 3D, or I don't know if my mom bought it, but anyway, I had bought my own computer as a young person, and with just like money I had saved, and I was playing the game Duke Nukem 3D. And the reason why this was such a big game was you were like taking on monsters in this like dystopia like world, but they had a strip club there, or multiple strip clubs, and you could go up to the women and press the space bar. I still remember the button to press. You press the space bar and they would show you their boobs. And I remember having to avoid that section of the game whenever my mother was around. And um but that was like the first
Kitty
game.
bar.
Yeah, that was the first game where I ever saw any kind of nudity. And then oh, and well, okay, and then Grand Theft Auto had a version of, I think it was San Andreas. It's called San Andreas Coffee. There's like a special. Okay, so if you bought Grand Theft Auto San Andreas when it first came out, there was like a hidden part of the game that wasn't available if you played the game normally. But if you went into like search the files, it was called Coffee Time or something, and you could actually have sex in the game in a Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, I heard about that, and then they got sued because it was like this hidden Easter egg that was not supposed to be there or something.
That's exactly right, and it was the first game that. I mean,
No, they got sued because the rating of the game.
right. It was called
not
Hot Coffee. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, 2004. While it's not playable in an official game release, the modding community discovered a hidden code that, when enabled, allowed protagonist Carl C.J. Johnson to have animated sexual intercourse with his in-game girlfriend. So that was that. To this day, I think that's the only game that I've ever played that was like that had sex in it. But yeah, that was a thing, and I'm surprised that's not a thing. Oh yeah, when I was a little bit older, they had these games called like Wild Beach Volleyball that were topless, that were just like 3D models of chicks who were topless. They did make some adult games. They had the AO rating, or adults only rating. Um, Not necessarily, but so usually those were just like topless chicks and stuff. But as I come to think of it, um, there were. I'm pretty surprised to this day that you can't hack in Grand Theft Auto. Aren't you?
I mean,
You can do everything else. There are two things. There actually
because of it.
there are two things that I'm surprised you still can't do in Grand Theft Auto. The first is there are no children. There's only, to my knowledge, been one child in any Grand Theft Auto game. And secondly, you and I think the reason for that is they don't want kids to see other kids on TV and be like, "Hey, this is a kids game." No, it's for adults, and they just don't want to get sued, and they get sued like crazy over that. Like can you imagine like if you could go to a school in the game and hurt children, then like you they would blame every school shooting in the world on that game. And then the other thing is, I'm surprised you cannot have sex in the game. You basically have been able to have like simulated sex um, since like Grand Theft Auto 3, basically with a prostitute where the car shakes, but just kind of you can do basically everything else in those games, but
So if they included that, then the rating would be not M for mature. It would be like the other one, and then all their customers would go away.
well, here's the thing. Here's what's surprising to me. To buy an M for mature game, I think you have to be 17 or older, right?
I have no idea on the specifics of it, but it's not the harshest rating that they can give the game.
Right. Adults only um is the strictest one. And let me look up. I remember when the ESRB came out, the entertainment um whatever ESRB, the ratings board, entertainment software rating board. It was a big deal. Um all right. So it launched in 1994 because before then you could do like anything in a game. All right. Um, so the ratings, there's mature, so 17 plus, and then adults only is 18 plus. But that's not that big of a difference. Like that's 1 year. So I'm surprised that Grand Theft Auto doesn't say, "Hey, let's make this thing 18 plus and put sex in it." It's 1 year. 1 year is not that big of a customer base. Does that make sense?
I'm sure they have a reason why.
No, I recognize that. I don't know what the reason is, but it's got to exist. Well, oh, I think the reason is um, Walmart and those kind of places will not sell adults only games.
Yeah, that could very well. Their biggest retailers would not be able to sell it properly.
Exactly. But they will sell 17 plus. Now, um, they have. I don't know if I've ever played an adult only game. I've seen them. There was one called. Uh, okay. Wow. Okay. The games uh, that I had heard of are okay. Leisure Suit Larry. That was a big game, and that was a adult only. Playboy Mansion, the Private Party. No one heard that. Manhunt 2, the uncut version. That's from Rockstar. Seduce Me, F, A Fairy Tale, Eden Plus, Hatred. There are not that many games with it. Like really, really rare to get that rating. Um, there was another game. Maybe it wasn't that. It's called. It was like some nude volleyball game, adult, PS2. Maybe it was called Summer Heat Beach Volleyball. Was that it? Um, Bikini Clad. Maybe I don't know. It was something like that. Anyway, I've never seen anything more than that. Have you ever played a Leisure Suit Larry game?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. No, I've never heard of that.
Oh, you've never even heard of it. This was a game that's like I've played it just like on like emulators, but basically everything is double entendre in the game, and so it's the story of a middle-aged man known for his balding head, penchant for double entendre, and iconic leisure suits. The story typically focuses on his unsuccessful attempts to seduce young women, portraying him as an unsuccessful pickup artist. A common link between the games are Larry's exploitations of luxurious and cosmopolitan hotels, ships, beaches, resorts, and casinos. So this is a guy who's like really wealthy, but always just like strikes out with chicks. And the first game came out in 1987, and I think that's the one I played, but I've only played it on like an emulator or something. And then they haven't put out a recent one since like 2013 or so. Not like I don't, but they have some sexuality in those games. Anyway, so you haven't seen
What simulator games do you think should exist? I think a roller skate rink simulator where you have to manage a roller skate rink would be good. I looked it up; it doesn't exist except for Roblox. But Roblox is trash. And also the Phallus Museum simulator where you have to go around and collect and gather all these rare animal penises for the museum. I think that one would actually potentially go viral. Maybe the Chinese squid ship simulator as well would be bad. Or Shanghai people and like grow a fleet of squid ships.
Have you seen the game that's like where you fill up vending machines? Have you seen?
Restock vending machines.
That's
That's
the
the
whole.
game.
Yeah, and people fucking love this game. It's like you get the stuff delivered to you from the warehouse, and you like restock vending machines all day. Let me look at the name of it. Vending machine. It's really popular on Kick. Stocking game. I see people play it quite often. It's called um not vending. It's called Vending Machine Business Simulator, and it's very popular. Um okay, so
That's an interesting concept for a simulator game. But how does it stop? How does it like not be boring though? Because like you can make like a lot of jobs like in simulator games, but they're just not like that interesting. I feel like people do love them, but I don't know. Maybe it's like a different type of person. One of the games I saw was like kind of mundane. It was like just leaf blower simulator, and you literally just like have to level up and like rake up leaves, and then like level up your leaf blower, and like literally you're putting away leaves. But people like it for some reason.
um well, okay, we'll get back to the good ideas for games, but I did want to make you aware there is this place. They had one. I think they had a couple of them, but they had one at Walt Disney World called Disney Quest that was an indoor video game arcade that had the best video games you've ever seen ever. And they had this one video game that you could create. It was like where you would design your own roller coaster, and then you could ride the roller coaster that you designed in this. Like you'd go in this like little capsule, and it would move around in whatever way you had designed the video game. And I think that kind of technology, that was that's 25-year-old technology. I think that would
So it
be
was like roller coaster tycoon.
exactly, but you could ride your own roller coaster in like a simulator. But it would move around like it would move your body like uh I don't know if it would allow you to go 360 degrees like uh, over, but it definitely would move left to right and stuff. And that kind of technology I think is really underrated. I've never seen anything like it since, and it was like 25 years ago. They also had like it was the first time I used VR.
So
to
That sounds like a good application for VR, a roller coaster builder simulator.
yeah. But the thing that made this thing unique is it moved your body like it would move around. Oh, and yeah, we I told you about there was some other simulator like that that they had. We talked about this where it was like it was we talked about like it was like landing on a planet or something and it would move around. Anyway, okay, back to what kind of video games aren't currently uh okay, what about a bowling alley simulator? I think that could be really cool if you got it really specific. Like you start out with just like you inherit a bowling alley or something, I don't know, and it's in a lot of debt. And you have different leagues that come in and you have to please the people in the different leagues and you have to worry about the costs of your bar and the like snacks that people are getting, and you could have an arcade and you have to worry about the machines breaking down and the machines of your bowling alley breaking down. And then there's the element of it like eventually your bowling alley would get popular because maybe some of the teams are good or whatever, or you make more money, and then you start expanding it with having night bowling and laser tag and all kinds of other shit. What do you think of that?
Um, I don't know if it expands into laser tag, then it becomes something bigger than bowling
Yeah,
alley simulator.
yeah.
But
The reason why I said that is because a lot of bowling alleys have like they got rid of their arcades and then they made like something else in there. Okay, but that's fine. It doesn't have to have laser tag, but what I'm basically saying is like you have to build up this business from the ground up, but usually you do that in a simulator like game and it doesn't get really specific. Okay, here's a fucking game that was amazing. Did you ever play the Sim games? Not the Sims, but like Sim City 2000 or those kind of games?
I watched a friend play it, but I never got into The Sims.
All right, so there are a couple games that they had that were absolutely amazing, and I think they should remake in today. If they remade it today, I think could be very popular. Okay, one is Sim Ant, where you live the life of an ant. It was the first time I had ever played a game as like a real animal, not an anthropomorphic being, but like a real animal. And you have to like build colony and then move into like different housing areas, and you have to worry about like the health of your colony and like breeding the queen and getting food. It's like it's really like this was in the mid this was in the mid 90s they came out with this game, but I think if they did it now with all they could do, it could be really cool. Another game that I've never seen is a bee colony game, which I think could be really popular, where you have to breed the queen and you have like worker bees, you have to create honey, and you know like they make that like fucking amazing hive. I think that could be really cool. And you have to go and pollinate different flowers, and some flowers pollinate better than others, and you have to worry about dangers to the hive like a bear. You wouldn't have bear scare, you just have to sting it. That could be a cool game. Another cool game, there's this game that they had, and I've never seen a game like it. I'm sure that they exist, but it's called Sim Tower, where you can build a tower up to like 100 stories, and you have to balance what the tower is going to have. Like it can have condominiums, it can have offices, it can have like luxury suites, and then in the basement of the tower you can have like food courts, and you have to worry about like where you're going to put the different elevators. If the elevators break,